amount of gardening in my balcony at that. Reignite my gardening passion. And that's where I started some flowers, some foliages, some succulents, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So Sujata, you can just have a look at some of there are a few categories of plants. Category of plants which are the show plant, which is called as the coleus. I'm maintaining different kinds of coleus plants. You will see these colorful plants. Yes, over the last 1.5 years, what I've done is done a lot of research, names of the plants, what are the botanical names, what are the common names. Every new gardener ends up killing all the plants. What is the kind of sunlight requirement? What's the kind of fertilizer requirement? How many times you should organic fertilizer? And many of these, for example, some of these fertilizers which we have to use can also be prepared at home. Leaves with the skin peels of fruits or vegetable. I try to do most for my garden. And I also prepare powder for compost. It's a great rooting hormone when you're transplanting your plants. Yeah. So Sujata, I'll show you some of my indoor plants also.
Digital wellness. While we know most of them are suffering from depression during this pandemic, so researchers are discovering ways for natural production of happy chemicals that would keep this depression at bay. We all know that the two most important chemicals that boost our immune system and keep us happy is the serotonin and the dopamine. How do we do it? Of course, it is simple. One of the ways is just get your fingers dirty and harvest your own food. Getting your hands dirty in the garden can increase your serotonin levels. The contact with the soil and a specific soil bacteria helps in release of this happy hormone, the serotonin, and to a certain extent can keep the depression at bay. There's another happy hormone, dopamine, and the dopamine release can be even with a simple looking at a fruit, a flower, because looking at fruits, flowers, or veggies growing in our own garden can increase our dopamine levels and really leave us very happy. Now, with these two, I am looking forward for my conversation with Sharda Nandakumar, who has been a very senior IT professional and a very good friend of mine. We worked together at Wipro for very long years, and you can see at the background that she has a beautiful garden, and she is so passionate about keeping her happy hormones through gardening. So I'm waiting to hear from her on how she is motivated to actually do gardening. Welcome to my channel, Sharda Nandakumar.
Hey Sujata, it's really a pleasure talking to you today. Really happy to be doing this session and wonderful to getting in touch with you again. It's been a long time. I'm currently in Pune, and you can very well see the background. You've got me on a very nice, lovely weather.
Wow. There is this saying that gardening adds years to life and life to years. So, you're really living by it, Sharda. I'm curious to know what motivated you to, doing this gardening.
So Sujata, from childhood, actually I have been doing a lot of gardening. I used to have a lot of these. We used to live in the flats in Bombay. The flats are pretty small, but you also have these cute little balconies which come with it. And somehow there was a passion to do gardening at that time itself. So I used to do quite an amount of gardening in my balcony at that time itself during my childhood. But as I started working and getting into the rigmarole of our daily lives with our kids and work and so on, I think somewhere that entire hobby got lost. But I think one of the best things which happened over the last 1 year, I know it's a very terrible time on the whole world is going through, and India in particular right now. But I think what helped me a lot was the last year's lockdown. And during this time, since we were working from home, I just, the 2 hours of travel in the morning and the evening, which we all are able to save upon, I used that time to reignite my gardening passion. And that's where I started spending a lot of time in the garden and started cultivating some vegetables, some flowers, some foliages, some succulents, and so on and so forth. So that's how it just ignited, and that's what it is. It just keeps me happy. It's a very stress-free activity. If you're filled with stress or thinking of something, it just gets you to, forget all that for an hour or two, and then, you're on to it, and then you're back to your work. So it really helped me doing a lot of that over a period of time over the last 1 year.
You know, it's very nice. I can actually see this the happiness and the passion with which you said, Sharda. So, how much of time do you?
So, typically on a typical weekday, I would probably spend an hour in the morning, early morning. That is the best time. Obviously, after that, you're on to your work and so on. Probably a few minutes here and there during my breaks, I would again come and fiddle around with the plants and so on. They also need your love and care to grow well. But on weekends, I end up spending almost about 2 hours. In fact, yesterday was a Sunday, and I spent almost about 3 hours just trying to plant some plants, repotting something, putting some seeds, and so on and so forth. And being the start of a rainy season, you would love to get prepared for that. So you end up spending almost about 2 hours minimum on a weekend, I would say.
I know if you're spending so much of time, the amount of love and care that you must be giving to your garden. Can we have a sneak peek at your garden, Sharda?
Yes. So Sujata, you can just have a look at some of there are a few categories of plants, but I'll not get into too much of detail today. But let me just show you and scan through some of the plant section. These plants require direct sunlight, but because it's raining, I've kept all of these inside. This is you can see very beautiful plants which I have. This is my jade. These are different foliage plants which are called as aglaonema. These are calatheas. Some orchids here, and you can see that the beetle leaf plant which is just about coming up. This plant is called, this is a very common plant, but it's the Dieffenbachia, which is a very indoor as well as an outdoor plant. I'll just take you to my larger garden, which is outdoors. And here you can see the entire garden, Sujata. You can see a plot of empty land because these are new plants in this rain, which is just about coming up. A lot of foliages, flowers, and pots which I have just kept around. And I can actually take you through some of these. These flowers are called as the pentas flowers here on this side. These are the crotons, which are beautiful in color. Yeah, if you see, I have also planted the bottle garden, if you can see this.
Right.
These are different types of money plants, which is called as the enjoy money plant. This is the basil, the English basil, Italian basil, which is called. Again, I've got a lot of chilies. Come, I should show you one of these capsicum, which is just about a category of plants, which are the show plant, which is called as the coleus. I'm maintaining different kinds of coleus plants. You will see these colorful plants. Again, there are some roses here. These are some roses. And this is a small corner which I have created, which contains different kinds of colorful coleus plants. These are very beautiful dots. Here, this is another variety of coleus. This is our very popular Kanagambaram or Aboli, which they call in Marathi. Here, this is a beautiful.
Like we just spoke earlier, because flowers definitely elevate the mood, right? Because I saw that Kanakambaram that was there, the orange.
Yes, and these are used for your regular use also. Every day you take them, put them for your. Yes, over the last 1 to 1.5 years, what I've done is I've done a lot of research, names of the plants, what are the botanical names, what are the common names, how is it grown, does it require sunlight, does it require water, how much of water, and so on and so forth. So that is also a lot of study which you do when you really want to follow this as your hobby, your passion. I till here, right up till there. so
I can
and
imagine.
don't miss these big pothos leaves. These are all money plants which grow huge, and it has to be grown away. And that's how it is all done.
So Sharda, we had a sneak peek at your garden. It was a quick sneak peek. I know it requires a lot more, which of course I'm now, I'm getting ideas that wanting you to do a little more deeper. We can do that in the coming episodes. But one thing I noticed was you were reeling out all the botanical names, right? So I'm sure you must have spent a lot of time researching, finding out things, especially about each of the things that we saw in the garden. Could be crotons, could be your flowers, it could be the vegetables and the others. So how do you manage your?
So there are two things. So one of the major things which I realized when I started doing this gardening was every new gardener ends up killing all the plants. So that's the first thing. And therefore, you need to know what is the family of plants. So each plant belongs to a family, a species. We have all studied during our education. They all belong to a family's species. And then you have to find out what is the common name. I try to do a lot of research on what is the botanical name, what is the common name, what is the kind of sunlight requirement, what's the kind of fertilizer requirement, how many times you should water and not water, and so on. For example, these succulents which I showed, we have to remember that succulents are always grown in a desert, and therefore you don't have to water them every now and then. It's a simple thing, but people end up just watering just by habits that we love to water our plants. They don't require that water. So these are simple tips and tricks which you have to learn when you're trying to manage a garden and manage multiple kinds of. And I am crazy about plants and crazy about all of these, and therefore I just do a lot of study before I go to the nursery. If I want to pick up a plant, study about it, and then do the needful. Number two is the yield which I get. I mean, the yield which is there for example, the let's say the brinjals or the chilies and so on and so forth. We should know what is coming out in each of these plants. How many, for example, if I plant beans, I should know what is the number of seeds which I need to plant in order to get a full yield, and so on and so forth. So a lot of those research which I keep doing it, and that's what helps me to maintain all of these. And now I would call myself as quite an expert, because a lot of things which I have learned, maintained, and
I really didn't know that there's so much of depth of doing it, because I liked what you said, because a few probably 2 years back, even I had got some lovely indoor plants, but I think after a few months, they faded away in spite of watering. Right. So now I understand that you really need to understand the nature of the plant, whether they may not even require water. Right. So, but we end up, because it's a general rule that we follow, that we just have to water that much. Right. So, that's great that you have, and I can really feel how much you must have really looked at and done so much to actually come this far. You were talking about the yield. So is this yield enough for you for your daily needs, Sharda? Do you just pick all your vegetables?
Not all the time, but yes, last year during October, November, December, when I was getting, I had planted my entire, at least 1/4 of the plot with a lot of brinjals and tomatoes and onions and potatoes. That was quite a yield which I got. But you have to keep on planting it. It is not that you plant it once and then it is, because every plant also has its own life. Some of them grow annually, some of them are perennial, that is, they keep on. For example, the flowers also, I can take an example. The hibiscus, for example, it flowers typically in summers, but throughout the year you will get flowers. There are some of these plants like parijat, which is the jasmine, night flower jasmine, it's called, which will probably flower only in the rainy season. So you have to accordingly do it. But as far as vegetables is concerned, chilies, for example, tomatoes, they'll grow all the time, but you should also know how much time it takes to ripen on the plant. For example, a tomato takes almost about 2 months to ripen on the plant, and even when you take it off, it requires a little bit of reddening to happen and so on. So I'm not born into that mode yet, but I think soon I will, the rate at which I'm going.
Wow, that's very nice. So it's like from garden to the kitchen. So that means what I understand is you go on changing yields. Then it's not that if you're growing, of course it is seasonal. It also depends upon the weather condition. You keep changing hibiscus to something else. So every yield.
So I wouldn't take the example of a hibiscus, because hibiscus, once it becomes a tree, the tree which I showed you with pink flowers, it is there with me for the last 10 years, for example. And you have to just keep feeding it fertilizers and so on, so that it stays for a long time, because it can live for years. Planting it, for example, a chili plant or a tomato or a brinjal, we have to keep on planting the seeds so that it keeps giving continuous yield. And you have to time accordingly. In fact, I am now going to start with some cauliflowers. I want to, for the first time, to see whether it really gives me a good yield and how is it. I've never done it before, but I'm going to try.
This is really nice. So you were speaking about those fertilizers. I presume that they are this organic manure that you use, or the compost?
Absolutely. So I use organic medicines, I would say. So there's a lot which is available in the market, the fertilizers which are chemical fertilizers, but I try not to use these chemical fertilizers. Even if I buy it from the market, I try to take an organic fertilizer. And many of these, for example, some of these fertilizers which we have to use can also be prepared at home. For example, you can prepare these bioenzymes which are done with the leaves, with the skin peels of fruits or vegetables. We can create those bioenzymes. We can create the liquid fertilizer. For example, onion is a very good fertilizer for your rose plants or for your hibiscus. So I just take the onion peels, don't throw it out. Either I put it into compost or I put it to prepare a liquid fertilizer and put it into the rose plants so that they give a good yield of flowers. So those are also homemade. But whatever I pick up from the market, for example, I would always pick up an organic one, and I can show you one of those which were coming in. So this is one of the pest control medicines, but it's a purely, and I try to do most for my garden. And I also prepare the compost, which is directly made from my kitchen waste. So it is from my kitchen to the garden, and then from the garden to the kitchen. So
there's a whole.
So all the kitchen waste, there's nothing which goes into the dustbin, which has to go to the land, which I prepared from all my kitchen waste. So this is I would say it is still to get done, but it's almost done. This is all of my kitchen waste, which is used into my garden. In addition to this, you will see that I've prepared a lot of things. You get these rooting hormones, you get it directly from the market, but I prepare cinnamon powder, for example. It's a great rooting hormone when you're transplanting your plant. Take it out, grind it, and use it as a fertilizer. Similarly, eggshells. So eggshells is used for my roses and hibiscus and so on, because they give. So Sujata, I'll show you some of my indoor plants also. What I have. So if you look at these are, so you, since I told you I'm a mad crazy lady, you'll find plants at every corner of my house. So this is called as the ZZ plant. This is the peace lily flower. And then this is called as a fiddle fig plant. It is also called as a Ficus lyrata plant. A few of my propagations, I will also show you my propagation, which I do through water, where I take a bit of the plant, cutting it in water. These are some of the syngoniums which I have here.
Wow.
Show you a few of my plants just at the entrance of my house. This is again kind of requiring partial sunlight and therefore kept at the entrance. These are some ferns. This is a variety of a cactus which is bush senecio, it is called. And then we have some of these money plants and ferns. These are called as the aglaonemas. Different variety of palm, a small variety which is there. This is the Schefflera, a palm which is there for a long time. Yeah, these are some of my other partial sunlight requiring plants. These are a lot of these foliage plants, Sujata. These are called as the foliage plants because they don't give. And in addition to this, these plants give out a lot of oxygen. Many of these plants can be kept inside the house, and they give a lot of oxygen, and therefore it is proposed that you keep it in. This is one of the most beautiful plants, which is called as the Pseudantheraminum. It's a long name, but it's one of the most beautiful plants. Summer, and it grows big and big and big. And now, once the rainy season starts, it will start giving flowers.
So Sharda, it was wonderful seeing this whole garden of yours. I know the way you spoke, there is so much of love, passion. It seems like a child to you, right? Every plant seems to be a child to you. I could actually see that sparkle in your eyes. It's really nice to know, Sharda. I know, the short period is not, it's too short for us to cover everything, because you do so much of work, especially when it comes to vegetables, from the garden to the kitchen, and you don't have any waste at all. Even those peels are actually going into compost from whatever little we saw. And definitely our viewers would like to understand more about the whole process, because I think with you have acquired so much of knowledge right from the botanical names to how one needs to do it. I'm sure there will be a lot of takeaways for the viewers, and we are looking forward for more from your side. And we would like to definitely have you take the viewers through each one of these processes in detail. So thank you so much, Sharda. It was very, very enticing and an enlightening session from your side.
Thanks, Sujata, for this wonderful session. I would just like to leave this session with one phrase of Audrey Hepburn, where she says that if you plant a tree, if you follow gardening, you're looking forward to a hope for tomorrow. So that's what it is all about, because the moment you put in a seed, the seedling comes up and you're in a hope for tomorrow. So I'm sure all of us are living in this world and in today's time. I think
absolutely.
That is absolutely.
When you were mentioning about oxygen, I said today, that is what is the biggest shortage. And I think it's a big takeaway for all of us, that all of us also need to have some plants. It doesn't matter about the size of your house, but you just need to have those plants. Thank you so much, Sharda.